to the darkest day I've ever recorded. It's terrible. If I took off the light, I'll show you. Before we start, if we didn't have the light on, we'd be like this. This is, I haven't changed the time I'm recording. It's just a horrible day. So let's put the light back on so we can see what we're doing. So it's Friday, which means it's a live album ranking today. And today we are looking at Simple Minds. Really great live band. I mean, I did have the fortune to see them back on the real life tour at Milton Keynes Bowl, which featured an artist that we're looking at later, OMD, and the new album. So, and I think we had Stranglers as well that day. So I can't quite remember the full lineup. But by the time I record the OMD, I might look in and see who else played that day. So, Simple Minds, formed in Glasgow 1977 by Jim Kerr and Charlie Mitchell. Great underrated guitar player is Charlie Burchill. Just love their music, especially their earlier stuff, but even the newer stuff sounds great live. And they've released 12 official live albums, so we are going to have a look at these. Now the first, before we go, we've got to have the number 12. I haven't got, and it doesn't really exist now. It's Simple Minds live in 2012. It was one of these you could buy at the gig sort of thing. The songs are on it: A Waterfront, Love Song, All the Things She Said, The American, The Hunter and the Hunted, See the Light, Sanctify Yourself, Don't You Forget About Me, New Gold Dream, well, we know it's 81, 82, 84. I'm not going to say it all the way through all the time. Somewhere in the Summertime, Promise You a Miracle, Glittering Prize, Alive and Kicking and Ghost Dancing, and Gloria. Never heard it, but I feel it's worth mentioning because it looks like it was a good set. Okay, now we can go into things. So coming in at number 11, this was released in 2017. It's called Acoustic In Concert. It was recorded on the 10th of November 2016 at the Hackney Empire. Backing vocals Catherine Ann Davies and Sarah Brown. Bass Ged Grimes. Guitar Charlie Burchill. Guitar harmonica and backing vocals Gordy Goody. And the great drummer, female drummer, who's a fantastic drummer, Charisse Osei. And of course Jim Kerr. So this is an acoustic set. So they open up with New Gold Dream, 81 to 84. A pretty decent version of it actually. See the Lights from Real Life really works as a acoustic number, I think. Glittering Prize from New Gold Dream doesn't work very well as an acoustic, I don't think. Stand By Love from Real Life, it's alright as a acoustic. Waterfront from Sparkling the Round, it doesn't sound good. They do a good version of Andy Warhol, David Bowie song, of course. That's not too bad. Chelsea Girl from the debut album sounds okay. Somewhere in the Summertime doesn't sound right as an acoustic song in my books. Dancing Barefoot, which is a Patti Smith song, sounded okay. Speed Your Love to Me from Sparkling the Round, it was okay. Promised You a Miracle, just doesn't sound right. Then we have Don't You Forget About Me, the single that was from the film Breakfast Club. Nah, it didn't work. It hasn't got the same emotion. Sanctify Yourself just doesn't work as a acoustic number. Long Black Train, Live and Kicking, they just don't work. Then at the end they have Steve Harley come on and they do Make Me Smile, Come Up and See Me. All I'll say is they did an acoustic studio album, and I wasn't very keen on that. But the live one is a little bit better. It's got a little bit more atmosphere, but it doesn't work for me as well as a normal album. Acoustic, some songs worked. So I shall give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, then coming in number 10. Real Life 91. This is the tour I saw them on. Now this is recorded at, I think it was before I saw them, in August 1991 at Barrowland Ballroom in Glasgow. The band was Charlie Burchill guitar, Jim Kerr vocals, the brilliant Mel Gaynor on drums, Malcolm Foster on bass, and Mark Taylor on the keyboards. They opened this up with, I know they didn't open the shit, but this is just sort of bits and bobs from the gig. They did King is White and In the Crowd from New Gold Dream, really good version. Big Sleep from New Gold Dream as well, really good. Sanctify Yourself from the Once Upon a Time album. Let There Be Love from Real Life, the album I'm promoting. Alive and Kicking from Once Upon a Time's great on here. The brilliant Waterfront from Sparkle Round. Ghost Rider, one of the tracks, good tracks from the Real Life album. And Belfast Child from Street Fighting Years. Sort of a snippet of that tour. It also appears on another album later. It's not a bad little album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in number 9 is their most current. It was released a few weeks ago, and it's New Gold Dream live at Paisley Abbey. Now this was recorded especially for a one-off live performance in the 12th century Paisley Abbey. Simple Minds performed there critically and lauded groundbreaking 1982 for Sky Arts. Now it's live, but there's no audience. But it is good. So we got Jim Kerr, of course, and Charlie Burchill, Ged Grimes, Sarah Brown, great vocals. She's got Gordy Goody and Charisse Ossie. So they could perform the whole album. So it's Somewhere in the Summertime, Colours Flying, Catherine Wheel, Promise You a Miracle, Big Sleep, Someone Up There Likes You, New Gold Dream, Glittering Flower Prize, Hunter and the Hunted, and King is White and In the Crowd. As much as I love this live recording, it's very good. Especially Charisse on the drums. You know, filling the big shoes of Mel Gaynor was a tough act to follow, but she's doing a great job. It just lacks atmosphere, that's all I'll say. The sound is fantastic. I'll give you that, it sounds brilliant, and but it just needed a bit of crowd there. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking, just purely on that, with the sound, of 7.5. Okay, then coming in number 8. This is just called Live in 2011. Now it's recorded on their 2011 tour in June of 2011 at Begley, Pintham and Forest, Hampton Court, Cannock Chase, and Northern Meeting Park in Inverness. Band for this one is Andy Gillespie on keyboards, Charlie Burchill on guitars, Ged Grimes on bass, Jim Kerr as ever on the vocals, Mel Gaynor on the drums, and Sarah Brown doing the backing vocal. Opens up with Moscow Underground. Now, I'm not very keen on this song on the Graffiti Soul album, but as a live track, it is really good. Then we go straight into the Waterfront with that iconic bass. Great track. Once Upon a Time from Once Upon a Time, of course. All the Things She Said from Once Upon a Time. Sanctify Yourself. They're just really good classic songs. Suns and Fascination from the album. Don't get that very often, and it's a really good version. Celebrate for Empires in Dance, very good version. Speed Your Love Into Me from Sparkle Range, always a good. Up on the Catwalk from Sparkle Rain, don't get to hear that much. Then we go back to the early days of The Earth That You Walk Upon from Suns and Fascination. Great version of that. Hypnotised from Good News from the Next World. Yeah, they sound good live. They're a very good live band, as I said. Mandela Day from Street Fighting Years. It's an alright song. Somewhere in the Summertime, Promised You a Miracle, Glittering Prize, New Gold Dream, and Don't You Forget About Me, Stage Fright, Alive and Kicking, Broken Glass from Big Music. Now, this is a track that I'm not keen on in the studio, but when they do it live, it sounds better. Much, much better. Ghost Dancing, one of my favourite tracks. And then they do Gloria from their covers album, Neon Nights. Good way to end the album. I don't actually own this, but I've heard it, and I quite enjoyed it, actually. It's a really good album, especially some of them older songs. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay, coming in at number 7. Now this is one I remember back in the early 2000s. The Sunday papers used to do live, discs on a Sunday. It's the only time I ever brought the Sunday Express, because for 2 weeks they did a live Simple Minds album. And it's just called Sunday Express. I don't know where it was recorded. I think during 2006, 2007. And the band at the time, it also includes some ambient music, which is pretty dull. So the band was Jim Kerr, Charlie Burchill, Mel Gaynor, Eddie Duffy's on the bass on this one, and Mark Taylor on the keyboards. So we got Alive and Kicking on here, which sounds pretty good. New Gold Dream, as ever, Mandela Day, Up on the Catwalk. And then we go into a track that, again, I've never really liked it on the album, but the live version's good. Different World from Black and White, 050505. Let There Be Love and Hypnotise. A Shot in Black and White, another track off the Black and White 0505 album, which sounds pretty good as a live track. And then we get these ambient, boring tracks that I've never really listened to. Then on the second disc you get Waterfront, Glittering Pliers, Sanctify Yourself, Don't You Forget About Me, All the Things He Said. And then a great version of Ghost Dancing, See the Lights, and the best version of Dolphins I've ever heard, from Black and White 0505. It's a really good track, one of the good tracks on there, but it sounds even better live. Then we get this ambient rubbish we never ever listen to. Yeah, as I said, it's the only time I brought the Sunday Express. Simple Mind tracks are brilliant, so I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 6. Now there's 2 versions of this. There's this one and this one, and it's Celebrate the Greatest Hits Tour. It was recorded at the SEC Hydro in Glasgow. Jim Kerr, Ged Grimes, Mel Gaynor, Charlie Burchill, Andy Gillespie and Sarah Brown doing the backing vocals. Opens up with the brilliant Waterfront. I just love that. Then we go to the big music for Broken Glass Park. Again, I just love these old newer tracks live. Then we go back to the Empires and Dance for a bit of I Travel. What a great version of that was on this album. All the Things She Said, that we're going into the classics. Promised You a Miracle, Glittering Prize, and then the wonderful theme from Great Cities. I just love this track. It sounds great on the album, but when you play it, hear it live, it gives you goosebumps. It's from the album Sisters Feeling Cool, of course. Bit of Mandela Day. Always got a bit of emotion when you sing that live. Somewhere in the Summertime. Then we go back to the Sister Feelings Cool album for The American, which it sounds great on here. I love that track. We get a Sense and Fascination for a bit of love song. Classic. See the Lights from Real Life, one of my favourite tracks off that album. Then we have a bit of Don't You Forget About Me. Couldn't be a Simple Minds track album without that live. New Gold Dream and Big Music Yourself, a track that I'm not fond of, but it's alright live. Sanctify Yourself, Alive and Kicking to end the show. It's quite a good one. So, you know, it was an enjoyable album, and I've recently got this, so I enjoy this one. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay, then, coming in at number 5, we have the Big Music Tour from 2015. Jim Kerr, Sarah Brown in the vocals, Ged Grimes, Mel Gaynor, Charlie Burchill and Andy Gillespie, and Catherine A.D. on keyboards and guitar as well. This opens up with a track from the Big Music. Well, it's the tour they were promoted, Let the Day Begin. Really like this version. Blindfolded. Mel Gaynor's pretty good on that. There's a lot on the studio version. There's a little bit more programming, but it's more Mel on that. Pretty good. Then we get a Graffiti Soul for a bit of Stars Will Lead the Way. Really strong song live. New Gold Dream. Can't go wrong there, can you? Stay Visible from the Black and White album. Then they do an acoustic version of the American, which is pretty cool actually. And then Home from acoustic version from Black and White. Then they do this title track, Real Life, from the Real Life album, which when I saw them they opened up with. I love that track, my favourite track off the Real Life album. Then we have a bit of Honest Town from Big Music, It's Alright. Rivers of Ice from Real Life, what a version. Then Dolphins, absolutely excellent live. Sparkle in the Rain, Waterfront, bit of Don't You Forget About Me, White Hot Day from Sparkle in the Rain. Don't get many live versions of that. It's a great track and it's always good live. Same with A Book of Brilliant Things. Really doing lots of tracks from the Sparkle in the Rain on this. Easter, Easter, and Speed Your Love to Me. Highlights of that show, really. The Sparkle in the Rain, Once Upon a Time, all the things she said. Let There Be Love from Real Life. Let It All Come Down from Street Fighting Years. Pretty solid tracks. Lots on this one. Midnight Walking from the Big Music itself. Sanctify Yourself, love that. Bit of Liaison, probably my favourite song from that album live. She's a River from the Good News Next Door, and then they do a really interesting version of The Doors' Riders in the Storm. Sarah Brown sounds great on that. She does a lot of the singing and a bit of a live and kick in. As I said, I really enjoyed this as a live album, because as I said, I'm not keen on some of the newer albums that Simple Minds did, but when you play them live they certainly brought them to life, and they've got a little bit more soul and a bit more body, and I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.3. Okay then, coming in at number 4, this was from 2019, and it was from the Fillmore Gleason Theatre in Miami Beach, recorded in 2018. It's called Live in the City of Angels. Simple Minds for this tour, of course, Jim Kerr, Charlie Burchill, Ged Grimes, who's been a stalwart for this band since he joined. Cherise is on the drums, and the multi-talented Gordy Goody, keyboards and harmonica and guitar, and the wonderful Sarah Brown on backing vocals. Now we open up with a track from the Walk Between Worlds album, The Signal and the Noise. Excellent. It's always nice to hear these newer songs, and it's a great track. Waterfront, you just can't get any better than that. It's just a fantastic song. Love song. They've really oofed it up, as they say, from Sons and Fascinations. Let There Be Love, Up on the Catwalk, always a firm favourite for me in live. Sense of Discovery from the Walk Between Worlds, very good version again. Glittering Bly's Promised You a Miracle. The American, Jim sounds great singing that even today. It's really good. Hunter and the Hunted, classic song. Stand By Love, Dirty Old Town, really good. Theme from Great Cities. Cherise drums on that well. You know, you thought Mel was the only one that can drum on it, but she gives it all on that. She's a River from the Good News album, pretty good. Walk Between Two Worlds is absolutely brilliant live. Then we go into some of the greats. Again, Somewhere in the Summertime, See the Lights, All the Things She Says. Dolphins, Don't You Forget About Me. New Cold Dream, Once Upon a Time, Alive and Kicking, and Sanctify Yourself. Really good album. But as I said, what impressed me is Sharice's drumming. She's doing a fine job. She's one of the best drummers, I think, underrated drummers. Absolutely brilliant little album this is. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.4. Now the top three sort of cover the whole of their pinnacle career, really. So coming in number 3 is 5x5 Live, released in November of 2012. It's recorded on the winter summer tour of 2012, all over Europe. So the band for this was Ged Grimes, Mel Gaynor, Charlie Burchell, Andy Gillespie, and Jim Kerr. Opens up with a thing called Real, and then I Travel. These songs are sort of some of the first few songs from certain albums. So we've got I Travel for 30 Frames a Second, Today I Died Again, and Celebrate from Empires and Dance. So good to hear these old songs live again, and injecting a little bit of life into them. Then we go to the Life in the Day for the title track. Fantastic live now. You listen to it on the album, and then you listen to what how they've made it sound even better. Then we have a track from the Reel to Reel Cacophony album, Calling Your Name. Again, it just sounds so good live, just like Scar, revitalising these old songs. And this is when they were still searching for that sound. They've got their sound, and they've sort of recapitulated these songs. Then we have some songs from the New Gold Dream. We have A King Is White in the Crowd, Hunter and the Hunted, Back to the Day in the Life, Wasteland, the best version I've ever heard of that. Love Song from the Sons and Fascination, Back to the Empires of the Dance, or the Sphere of Gods, brilliant version. Pleasantly Disturbed, I was never a fan of that on the album, but I love it on here. Room for Empires and Dance, great live. Disc 2, The American, one of the best versions of that song from the Sister Feelings Cool album. 70 Cities, As Love Brings the Fall, so much better on this album. A Trance in a Mission really opened it up. The sound on that, Jim sings that great still. Sons and Fascinations, Sweat in the Bullet, great tracks from these early albums. Then we have 2 from the Reel to Reel Cacophony album, Challenging and Factory. Fantastic to hear these songs. Big Sleep from the New Gold Dream album. Premonition from Reel to Reel. Promise You a Miracle, we all know. Somewhere in the Summertime. Theme from a Great City, Great Cities. Glittering Prize. And then 2 other tracks from the debut, Someone and Chelsea Girl. Best version of that I've heard and New Gold Dream. I love this album because it's brought some of them older tracks from them early albums to the fore, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant live album. And I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, coming in at number 2. Now this is called Silver Box. It's a 5 CD box, but includes, remember they included Our Secrets at the same time as a new album. So we covered that. So we'll look at the live albums. Now these are things, it's like their version of a BBC. So the first lot are taken from the Parish Theatre in 1979. So we've got stuff off the Life in the Day album. We've got Life in the Day, Chelsea Girl, Here Comes the Fall, Challenging, which is from a John Peel session, Premonition from a John Peel session, great. Citizen, Dance of Youth from John Peel, Room, I Travel, Celebrate, 30 Frames of Special. This is now recorded in 1980. It's a demo. Like Twist, Run and Repulsion is a demo version. Capital City, a demo version. These are just great and raw. New Warm Skin, Constantinople Line, Careful in Korea, All great demos of these great songs. And then we get a demo version of the American Life in Oils, Sweet is the Bullet. Love Song as a demo is interesting. Then we have Promised You a Miracle from a David Jensen session at the Maida Vale Studios. Live but raw, in a trance, same session. Brilliant. Great version of Somewhere in the Summertime. These are all 1982. Glittering Prize, Hunter and the Hunted. The Kick Inside of Me, absolutely killer on here. Then we have New Gold Dream from Barrowlands Ballroom again. Then a live version for this is the Live Aid rehearsal in Philadelphia of Don't You Forget About Me. Interesting to hear this rehearsals for that. Then we go to the Hoy in Rotterdam, a great venue for some songs recorded in 1985. Waterfront, Ghost Dancing, Book of Brilliant Things, Once Upon a Time, All the Things She Says Alive and Kicking, Sanctifier Show, what a great show, Mandela Day. Then we have more tracks from the Barrowlands in 1991. You literally get the 90% of the concert. Real Life, See the Lights, Travelling Man, East of Easter, Banging on the Door, Stand By Love, Oh Jungle Land, what a version of that is. King in the White Crowd, Big Sleep, Let There Be Love, Ghost Rider, Belfast Child, She's a River. I mean, I remember Belfast Child at Milton Keynes. It made the hairs of my neck stand up. Up on the Catwalk and Hypnotised. This is a fantastic box set. There are bootlegs of that Milton Keynes gig that are pretty good, and it was a great show. So these ones from the 91 show are brilliant. I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.8. Okay, but my number one album, live album, I've had this for years. I've had it on album, I've had it on CD. The album's dying, but this is one of them albums that I need to replace. And it's their first live album, released in 1987. It's Live in the City of Nights. Recorded at the Zenith in 1986. The band at the time, Jim Kerr, Charlie Burchill, Margot McNeil on keyboards, Mel Gaynor drums, John Giblin on the bass, Robin Clark, additional vocals, and Sue Hadajopoulos on percussion. There's a bit of overdubs on there, but we'll talk about that later. So this opens up with probably the best version of Ghost Dancing ever. That lovely guitar from Charlie is absolutely fantastic. I love that track. Big Sleep, absolutely great. Waterfront, the best version. Promised You a Miracle, probably the best version. Somewhere in Summertime, Oh Jungle Land, Alive and Kicking. My favourite version of Don't You Forget About Me, where the crowd just carry it on. Once Upon a Time, Book of Brilliant Things, East of Easter, Sanctify Yourself, Love Song, absolutely killer on here. And a little bit of Sun City from Sly and the Family, Dance to the Music in their New Gold Dream. Okay, it fades out. There's a few studio overdubs, but who cares? It's just a great live album. I know people are going to say it's not a live album because they've cleaned it up. So what on this one? I think it's when Simple Minds were at their peak, and the recordings on here are fantastic. I love this album, always have, always will. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Yeah, great band, still performing well. I've seen bits of them on this latest tour on YouTube, and they're still playing superb. Jim's great, but the one I'm most impressed with is Cerise on the drums. What a drummer. And it's getting a bit lighter out there. It might lighten up for the 2 new album reviews, but who knows. Anyway, I'll be back later, and we've got 2 new album reviews to do, and that bill was suggested by the one and only Mr. Richard McCook. So we're going to first do OMD and the Bauhaus Staircase, and then we're going to look at the new Graham Parker album. So join me for that later. Bye for now.